What a beautiful night on Labor Day weekend here at Atlanta Motor Speedway as we are getting ready for race action, the fireworks, the fans, and the cars on track. Let's set the onboards for you. We got a bunch. We got Jamie McMurray, winner last night in the Nationwide Series. We've already talked to our in-race reporter, Kurt Busch, pole sitter Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, Kevin Harvick, the points leader, Clint Boyer, the man on the bubble right now, Jimmy Johnson, the four-time defending champion, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. And, of course, the Chevy pace car is heading the group as we're getting ready to go green. And there's the view that they have. And let's talk a little bit about Denny Hamlin. It's his 8th career pole. He's won twice from that position. And it is Joe Gibbs Racing 50th career Cup pole for that team. As you take a look at the starting grid coming across the top of your screen, remember this. 7 of the last 11 wins here at Atlanta have come from the first 2 rows. And you'll notice that row number 4 is Jimmy Johnson. He'll be feeling some pressure, but let's check in quickly on pit road. Here's Mike Massaro.
And certainly one guy a lot of eyes will be on tonight will be Clint Boyer. With just 2 regular season races to go, he sits directly on the bubble, 12th in the standings. Applying the pressure are 2 guys. Jamie McMurray, he's 100 points back. He's already had a memorable season, but trying to validate it with a chase berth of his own. Another guy, Mark Martin. He's 101 points back, looking for another championship opportunity. Both of these guys know what they need to do tonight. They need to cut deep into their deficit. Otherwise, there could be some bubble bursting here in Atlanta. Jamie Little.
Well, Mike, on the flip side, there's a few guys in the field that have very little pressure tonight. Why? Because they're essentially guaranteed a spot in the chase. So tonight, the goal is win. Remember, Denny Hamlin and Jimmy Johnson are tied with 5 wins apiece. If one of them wins tonight, he would be the #1 seed if the chase started tomorrow. Dr. Jerry Punch?
Well, Jamie, Jimmy Johnson finds himself in uncharted territory. It's way back in 9th in the point standings. And this week, his crew chief, Chad Canals, told the crew that, guys, we mathematically could still not make the chase. And what a wake-up call that would be. He firmly believes, though, Jimmy will be the man to beat tonight. Dave Burns.
Jerry, pit crew's again critical tonight. Even though there's lots of room to race here at Atlanta, there is room to lose during the pit stops, and you don't want to do that to your driver. There will be a lot of pit stops tonight. It's a long race. Crews have to stay focused. Marty?
All right, thank you, guys. The cars are in turn number 3. Our over-the-wall reporter, Brian Hootie Chase. He's the jack man on the number 56 tonight for Martin Truex Jr. Thanks, Brian. We'll be watching. You guys be safe down there. Let's quickly take a look at the track facts as we get ready to go green. We're going to go around this track 325 times. 45 miles an hour is pit road speed. And they're going to be needing tires before they need fuel in that pit window on these rough and tumbled 24-degree banks. Here comes the pace car pulling down off the track. The Emory Healthcare 500, race number 25 here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. As our pole sitter, Denny Hamlin, brings them down, is green. Everybody basically holding station side by side for the most part down into turn number 3.
Yeah, Ron Newman's trying to make that high side work to get a lead here. 5 bonus points means a lot to him in this race.
10th time Newman has started on the front row here at Atlanta. Remember, he has 7 poles, 6 of those in a row, and he's going to go for the lead. Who's going to lead it at the end of lap number 1?
It's like Denny Hamlin got the lead there on that first lap, but Ron Newman not giving up.
Right behind him, you've got Kyle Busch, then Carl Edwards, Martin Truex Jr., Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson.
You see Newman still trying to fight back. Here comes Montoya on the high side.
And remember, Montoya's had a couple of third-place finishes here in the last couple of races at Atlanta. David Reagan trying to come up underneath the 42 now, and Montoya comes down.
It's one of David Reagan's in that UPS Ford, one of his best qualifying efforts. He's from nearby here. He would really like to have a good race tonight for UPS, who is based here in Atlanta.
Let's move a little bit further back in the field. And look at this, about 5-car jam. And there's Mark Martin, of course, trying to keep his chase hopes alive. Jeff Burton going around him on the high side.
See Bobby Labonte leading that group right there in the 71 car. Won a lot of races here.
That is 22nd right now. And Labonte has the most wins of the active drivers in this race. 6 of them. In fact, he's come furthest back in this field to win the event.
See Dale Jr. there take the spot away from Jeff Burton. Moves right back to that middle groove right now.
Tony Stewart getting a little frisky here early, and here comes Jimmy Johnson along with Martin Truex right behind him right there.
Yeah, Tony Stewart really happy with his race car yesterday during practice. He feels like that he could be the man to beat when this thing gets to the nighttime especially.
That's the battle for 6, and I want to explain all the smoke you're seeing is the residual effects of the pyrotechnics that they had at the beginning of the pace laps, and not much breeze here right now, so that's what we're looking through. Let's check the battle for 3rd with Kyle Busch and Carl Edwards. Edwards on the high side, and it looks like the high line seems to be working for a lot of guys right now.
Well, I think we're going to see it work for sure during this time. The track is still reasonably hot. See Carl Edwards really working the wheel, trying to keep it off the wall. He's going to take that spot away from Kyle Busch right now. A lot of people pointed their finger at Carl Edwards as one of the drivers to be here tonight, too.
Yeah, I was down in the garage area talking to Steve Addington before the race and just kind of getting a feel for who they felt like they had to beat tonight. They said Denny Hamlin for sure, but watch this 99 car. He was stout, too.
And he starts to pull away from Kyle Busch. One of the points we should make, remember last night in the Nationwide race, whoa, as we got 2 cars going past Mark Martin like he's standing still, and here comes Regan Smith.
Yeah, that's what happens right there. Whenever you lose momentum a little bit, we've talked many times about keeping the momentum through the corners. Mark Martin got himself in a position of being right in the middle. You have to just get out of the throttle. Looks like these cars are running 15 miles an hour faster, and it's not too far from that.
That's back at 27th position. How about Casey Kane? He's done very well here in the past. He is running right now in 8th spot, getting around Juan Pablo Montoya.
We always expect to see Casey run well here. We expect him to be up on the high side before the night's over.
Move up a little further, and there you see the 18 and the 99 going after each other again as Kyle's coming back, trying to get underneath Carl.
Yeah, and they can look in their mirror and see the 4-time champ Jimmy Johnson coming at them, too.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson ran the fastest lap time of the field that last lap.
Carl is really having to work his car hard. He would prefer not to have to work that hard right now. These guys know that they're going to face a totally different racetrack later on. Whoa, you can see him really get loose as he tried to get down into turn 3.
And one of the points...
Man, look at that thing.
One of the points I was trying to make a little bit earlier when we saw Mark Martin sliding backward, as you see Kyle now take the position. The sun is setting. Remember, this race started 30 minutes later than last night's Nationwide race, so it hasn't been as blinding as these guys going down into turn number 1. Denny Hamlin right now, your race leader by a total of 1 second. And he's just crossed 600 laps led in 2010. Looking down here at Atlanta Motor Speedway from the Goodyear blimp. And go to Goodyear.com to show your thanks and help support our troops. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. Thank you guys for the great shots. As you can see, that's the gap between 1st and 2nd. Denny Hamlin, Ryan Newman, he has cut it from 1 second down to 4/10.
Yeah, and you can see the 11 car of Denny Hamlin wiggle right there coming out of turn 4. It looks like about 10 or 12 laps on the bottom. That's where Hamlin is stuck to. Ryan Newman's cutting that lead down, and will take the lead here shortly.
Let's check in on Clint Boyer, because right now he is running in the 10th position. He's right in front of Juan Pablo Montoya, then Greg Biffle, Jeff Gordon behind them. And here comes that battle for the lead, and you're right, DJ, he is closing now.
Well, there are a couple of things. You can keep the momentum going, but if you run that high line, even though at first you may lose some time to the guy running faster on the bottom, you're not abusing your tires as much, so that's what helps out in this situation, too.
Well, don't forget, Ryan Newman has nothing to lose here. He has to have a big night.
Look at that momentum.
Yeah, just try, as I said earlier, trying to get these 5 bonus points right here. That's huge to him, too. He would love to lead enough laps to get that other bonus of leading the most laps. That's all that they can do, is try to make the most of it tonight and hope that maybe Clint Boyer has some problems.
Well, remember, he came in tonight 118 points out of that last spot. Let's move a little bit further back. You see Montoya, Jeff Gordon, Greg Biffle. Biffle, you tuned into NASCAR Now earlier today. He told everybody he's going to be running that high line early. And he said, we don't know if we can adjust. We're going to try, because we saw last night how good the low line was for the Nationwide race. On the right side, Tony Stewart looked like maybe Jimmy Johnson sort of got out of it for a moment.
You know, we've kind of seen one thing here tonight. Jimmy charged up through there right at the beginning, but now starting to slide back some. So maybe he just was seeing how much he could get out of his car before that took place. But we've also seen them have some issues with their handling probably over the last 3 months.
Well, we've seen the speed slow down over 2 seconds a lap. Now, when that happens, it changes a lot of things. I mean, it changes the balance of the car. It'll change, you know, the way these cars handle. They're going to have to make adjustments to their car to try to keep up.
Look out. Boy, hell, Jeff gave it a little bit of a sideways ride there. We're on lap 18 to back you up, Andy. The fastest lap time was turned in by Denny Hamlin, 29.8 seconds. We're now running 32.5-second laps.
So the whole game is try to keep your car from falling off speed-wise less than the other cars do. I mean, in a long run, you can just see somebody's just going to get hooked up just like Ryan Newman. He kind of just paced himself early, and now his car is really hooked up, and he can drive away from some of these guys.
A.J. Allmendinger's hooked up well enough to get around the 24. Jeff Gordon. Dave?
And guys, you're talking about who can tune the best on their car through the night. The 24 car, Jeff Gordon, was kind of back and forth during practice after talking with Steve Letarte this morning. He said maybe we were loose one run, tight the next run. He said, but I'd much rather be that way than be all one way or the other all day long. He's pretty confident they can adjust throughout the night, but right now, Jeff having a little trouble handling that car.
Well, we've seen him take several different approaches around this mile-and-a-half oval so far, but hasn't made the progress forward. Now, Mark Martin has been sliding back. He is in 27th position right now, and this is not good for him because, as you can see, it is the wrong direction. Jamie, what's going on?
Well, he's already dropped 10 positions since the start of the race. They've had issues this weekend already, saying the speed just has not been there. The balance has been good. The car drives well. You see him get loose right there. But the good news for this team, Alan Gustafson, his crew chief, told me we set this car up for the long run. So slowly, if this goes green for a while, watch the 5 car to start knocking him off.
Mark Martin making his 50th start tonight here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Now let's check in on Jamie McMurray, last night's winner. And of course, he also trying to make it into that last spot as he is going side by side with the 7 of Kevin Conway and quickly disposes of it. Jamie McMurray right now would be in 14th position, with Clint Boyer having control right now of the 12th spot, who's right behind him. Ryan Newman now with the race lead as he's gotten around Denny Hamlin. This is what we told you he really needs to do for his chase hopes. He has cut it down right now to 62 points, and he basically has to win this race, finish first, second, garner as many points as he can heading in to Richmond.